All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99. I am back with another video. Okay, y'all, so somebody asked me about this whole situation. They wanted to know my thoughts about Zhang Weili and Carla Esparza, the whole call out and the whole timeline thing. So I said, all right, I'll go ahead and do a video on it because I talked about it in a live stream with y'all. But, if you just want to hear the video and don't want to scroll through the live stream, these are my thoughts on it. So as y'all know, last Saturday, already a week out, Zhang Weili defeated Joanna by second round knockout. And right after the fight, she called for the smoke. She called out Carla Esparza, said, let's do it in Abu Dhabi, specifically October 22nd for UFC 281, right? She wanted to solidify that date with Carla Esparza, so she made that call out, said, look, let's do it on neutral ground in Abu Dhabi. This won't be China, this won't be the U.S. We can just do it right here, right? So Carla Esparza, she responded back and said, look, I don't have to fight on anyone else's timeline. I'm the champion. That's how it should go, right? I shouldn't have to listen to her in being a contender while I'm the champion, right? So a lot of people feel a certain way about that, of course, because it's Carla Esparza at this point, especially not just because it's Carla Esparza and, not fans of her style, but everybody's still thinking of that fight back in May against her and Rose, right? That rematch was considered one of the worst fights in strawweight history, one of the worst fights in WMMA history, one of the worst fights in MMA history, right? So everybody feels a certain way about her saying, no to that date and just saying, you have to follow my timeline. I don't have to follow your timeline. I mean, I can pull up the article here just to be specific on it. This is the interview here with Carla Esparza. This is what she had to say. I definitely don't feel like I'm in a position where I should rush just because Weili wants a certain date. I'm not trying to go on a timeline. I'm not trying to go on her timeline. I'm the champion, and I feel like she needs to go on my timeline. All right? That's what she had to say about that. Then she brought up the first time she won the belt, she felt the pressure. She felt like she got rushed into the Joanna fight. She said that honestly was a big regret of mine, letting the pressure push me into jumping back in so quickly after just going through the Ultimate Fighter. That was my 5th fight in 8 months. It was really draining. That was a big regret of mine, not letting myself recover a little bit, jumping straight back into the cage because I felt pressured and wanted to make the UFC happy. But in the end, if I'm losing the title, then what is it all worth anyway, right? Okay, as y'all know, back in the day, in the tough house, you have to fight, 3-4 fights. If you're winning every fight, then you fight the champion. You fight for the belt, which she did against Rose, defeated her, and then boom, jump right back in there with Joanna as her first title defense. As y'all know how that fight went. She got defeated. Easy work for Joanna, right? So this time around, now that she's won the belt, she's feeling like, hey, I want to take my time. I want to take the time to recover. And you have to go by my timeline, Weili. That's basically what she's saying, right? So my thoughts on it. Do I want to see the fight first off? Yes. I definitely want to see Zhang Weili take on Carla Esparza. It's a style matchup I'd love to see. It's a call out. It's the best fighting the best. I want to see the fight. I definitely want to see the fight. Do I think Weili has a great chance? Am I picking Weili just early on? Yeah. I think Weili has a really good chance in this fight just because of the style matchup, but I think Carla has a chance. You never know how it could go. That's why I want to see it happen, right? But does Carla Esparza have to accept the terms of Weili? No. And I think that's where a lot of people disagree with me. I don't think so. Carla Esparza doesn't have to say, I accept your terms. I have to do what you say. Now, I know Weili is the one that's considered, the bigger fighter. She is a superstar. She's loved by more people. She has a bigger fan base. She has the China market behind her. Dana White's pushing her to be champion again. He wants somebody to take that belt from Carla Esparza. I understand that, right? A lot of that favors Weili, right? But when it comes down to it, I still don't think Carla has to accept those terms because, Carla Esparza has a pretty good track record as well. I mean, she has a very good track record that still stands for something. Now, there's two ways to look at it. I know there's the political side / money side, the market side, but then there's the reputation and the win streak and the wins that are speaking for themselves and the improvements that are being made, right? And that's what I'm kind of going off of here, So as the champion for Carla Esparza, I still think that it's on her. Whether you like what her last fight looked like, I think the champion is always the one calling the shots. The person with the belt calls the shots, unless the situation is just really, really big. Like this person is just this household name. Like, I remember back in the day, Ronda Rousey, even when she didn't have the belt, she'd make more money than Amanda Nunes, right? You can't really say anything about that. But when it comes down to it, I think this situation is a little bit different here because Carla Esparza is 6-0. Carla Esparza is 6-0 right now. Zhang Weili just snapped a 2-fight losing streak. She's 1-2 in her last 3 fights, whereas Carla's 6-0. All 5-0 on the way to the belt. Adding Rose's name once again to that resume. She's 6-0 right now. So you can't really say that Carla Esparza doesn't have anything to stand on. She's been fighting, she's been active, she's been improving, and now she's got the belt. And when you really look deep at it, it's like, look at the resume. Carla Esparza defeated Rose twice, whereas Weili is 0-2 against Rose. So I think when you look at it deeply like that, Carla and Zhang Weili, if they talk face-to-face or on social media, that needs to be brought up to say, look, I beat the fighter you couldn't beat. And look, it won me the belt both times. Now, Zhang Weili could make the argument and say, oh, yeah, well, I beat the fighter you couldn't beat 2 times in Joanna, right? She could say that. But when you look at how Carla Esparza beat Rose, they were both in title fights. She won the title both times fighting Rose Namajunas. So if you look at it that way, like that deep, yeah, then I can say, okay, Carla can call the shots. But then, again, when I jump from the resume side to the marketing side, I could definitely see why people would want to favor Zhang Weili. But it's not like we're talking about who gets more money or who fights who at this point. It's just about when. And I have no problem with Carla Esparza just wanting to push the fight back. That's why I'm on her side. Is now if she was trying to duck her, that's a different thing. Because that's what I'm saying. It's not like Carla's saying no to the fight. It's not like Carla's saying, no, I'm not going to fight Weili. Or she didn't say anything like, oh, Weili's not ready. Weili, she just beat Joanna, an old Joanna. She's not ready. Make her fight 2 or 3 more fights, then come see me. She didn't say anything like that. It's not about not fighting her. It's about the timeline. It's about the win. WHEN, win. She's just trying to take a few more months off and take the time to recover. Because like she said, last time she fought like 5 fights in 8 months. And, that's a lot of pressure on a fighter. Whether you like their style or not, that's a lot of pressure on a fighter mentally. Fighting 5 fights in 8 months, that's a lot of mental pressure. So this being her second time around, you want to learn from that. You want to learn from that and say, okay, well, this time around, I'm not going to let them pressure me. And, I'm going to take the time I need. And that's all she's saying. So if you really look deep into it, like I said, the person that asked me my thoughts on this situation, that's how I see it. I know people want to see fights and they want to see Weili's style and they want to see this person come back and get the belt. Okay, it'll happen, but I still think that the champion deserves the time to recover and they get the chance to call the shot when the fight can happen. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not thinking it's going to be like forever. Like, it's not going to be a whole year. Like, if Carla wants to push it back to November, that's cool. Or December. Like, if she wanted to close out the year in December, that's all right. That's only, 7-month turnaround for a champion. In boxing, I'm used to that. You know what I mean? I think we just got so spoiled seeing fights back to back to back in the UFC that we forgot about, like, regular turnaround times, like 6 to 7 months. So if Carla wanted to push it back to November, December, even January, I'm fine with that as long as she's not ducking her. As long as she's just saying, I'll fight you, but it's got to be on my date. That's cool with me. So that's, it's not really a problem. Like, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, man, she's ducking and she won't take this date. I really don't care about the date. As long as she says she'll fight her and she just doesn't want the pressure of, being pushed into it, that's fine. She just wants to kind of get the chance to call those shots. But again, I understand, like, the marketing side. Like, if Carla pushed herself more, I think people will back her more as a champion, because she got to know when you have that belt, you got to have some type of character behind you. You got to be somewhat in tune with your fans. That's the big part of being a champion too. I understand that side of it. Like Weili, she's more in tune with fans, and she's, aside from the crowd pleasing style, she's just a fighter that talks and does interviews. Even though she doesn't speak English, she's definitely a fighter that's in tune with America, and she's out there. She's out there. She's always out there. I know not everybody has that personality, but if you want to hold that belt for Carla, there's a lot of responsibilities that come with it. You know what I mean? You got to be out there and you got to be doing interviews with people, so people will say, okay, I'm on your side, Carla. So when it comes down to it, in this situation, they're kind of ignoring the belt. A lot of people, even Dana's probably ignoring the belt, just saying, nah, I'm going with the person with the bigger market. Yeah, they had a 2-fight lose streak, but I'm looking at that. So there's a lot of different ways to look at it, but if I was just looking in a technical way, I think the champion does deserve a couple of more months to say, I'm busy, I want to relieve myself. I've been fighting, consistently over the past 2 or 3 years. I need to take some time off. She did get married, so if she's just pushing it back to December or January, I'm cool with that. I want to see the fight. Definitely, I'm a fan of Weili. Carla's a good good fighter. The way they won the belt, the way she won the belt wasn't very, entertaining. Not at all. But I think she definitely deserves that chance to take, a couple months more off and say she calls the shot. It's on her timeline. Basically what I'm saying. But yeah, what do you think though? Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.